Hello everyone and welcome to Discovering in Color. That's a channel that's designed to show you just how much fun you can have in the outdoors. Well, today I had to change the subject. Originally I was going to talk about fires and starting fires and maintaining fires and along with some outdoor leave no trace type things. However, it's super windy outside today, so today wouldn't be a very good day to do a fire demonstration or something like that. So since the weather precluded me from doing what I wanted to do, I figured I'd just talk about the weather itself. Now, weather is the kind of thing that affects all of us. It affects us everywhere, it affects us all the time. But let's talk about it when it comes to camping and backpacking. Number one, when you're gonna go outside, you need to know what the weather is so that you can properly prepare. Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it gonna be wet? Is it gonna be dry? Is it gonna be all the above? You never know what you're gonna get when you go out there and you go backpacking or you go camping. So let's just kind of talk about how do you prepare yourself for the weather? Well, obviously we have these wonderful things called cell phones, and you can look at that and you can get a forecast and you can pretty much tell, hey, it's going to be hot, it's going to cold, it's going to rain, that type of stuff for the duration of time that you're out there, and you can prepare for it. So if it's going to rain, you bring a raincoat. If it's going to be cold, you bring a coat. If it's going to rain and be cold, you bring a waterproof coat. So remember that. Also bring some waterproof shoes, those type of things. Now, what happens when you're out for longer or you're someplace where you don't have cell phone coverage? And there's lots of places you can go when you're camping that you can get out there and you don't have any kind of cell phone coverage. Well, depending on how long it's been, if it's only been a day or two and you don't have cell phone coverage, you can pretty much rely on the last forecast you had. But what happens when you get 3, 4, 5 days in? The weather forecasts are always going to change. So if that's the case, you can do a couple of different things. The first thing you can do is do it the old-fashioned way, which is just get a weather radio here. And this one here, all you do is you turn it on, hit the little weather button.
Weather conditions will be elevated this afternoon across northern, western, and portions of central Oklahoma. Wind
And there you have it. A very easy way, doesn't require cell phone coverage. All it needs is batteries. It pretty much works all the time with a few exceptions, but it's a nice way to get the weather. Now, these are always done by the National Weather Service and they're on a loop. So you've really got to listen to the entire recording sometimes to figure out or to hear whatever you want to do. And there's weather stations all around the United States. You just pick a channel for wherever you're at and you're going to have weather without having to worry about cell phone coverage and that type of thing. Now, there are some places in the world or some places in the United States that I've been to that do not have, that radio actually won't work. One place in particular was the Gila Wilderness down in New Mexico. You get to the center of that and you don't get anything. You don't get FM stations. The only thing you get are satellite communications pretty much. And that's where your satellite communicator comes into play. What you can do with that is you can actually pull down weather reports over something like this Garmin inReach, be it a mini or full service Garmin, and you can get the weather forecast for the next few days. So that is another great way to figure out what the weather's happening, what's going on, especially if you've been out of contact. And that one has a worldwide coverage. So as long as you can see the sky, you can get a weather forecast. And it's an inReach, so if you get in trouble someplace, you can always call. And I go back to the definition of the Gila Wilderness. You get out there, you don't have cell phone coverage, all you have is satellite communications. So if you get into a pickle, things go bad, always have a way to call for help. Unless you're going to figure out a way to self-rescue. But if you can call for help, that's always a great way to go. And pretty much the final thing that I want to talk about weather is, I can't overemphasize it, is just be prepared. Take a look at the forecast for what it's going to be and make sure you bring the proper gear for the upcoming forecast. Usually, so long as you do that, you're usually going to be okay. But if you prepare, and I've seen this a lot of times, people will on the day they leave, it'll be a nice, warm, sunny day, and they're thinking, wow, the weather on this trip is going to be great. So they dress for that current weather. T-shirt, short pants, that type of thing. That night and the next day, the weather turns because they didn't look at the forecast, and the next day it's cold, it's rainy, and they just really became unprepared. And then what do they say? Gosh, the weather wasn't that bad yesterday. Yeah, you don't want to do that. So, from the Gadget Man, prepare for the weather, go out there, take care of yourselves, have a really good time. Because if you're not prepared for the weather, you're going to have a really awful time out there. And all you're going to remember about that trip is, oh, it was so cold, it was so wet. Go out there and enjoy yourself. And if you're properly prepared for it, everything is good. Other than that, take care. Catch you in the next video.